What's up, guys? Today on the podcast, we are joined by George Pinilla, one of my best friends since middle school. We talk all about how we used to train in high school, and then when he went into the Marines, how that training shifted a little bit, what his experiences were like, and then we talk a little bit about life now. He's in law school, so it doesn't really leave a lot of time for him to train, but he still finds a way. And at the very end, we shoot the shit and talk a little bit about Avengers and some other fun stuff. So buckle up, here we go.
Okay.
You got locked up in there.
Oh, my clothes.
Yeah, sure. Do your clothes have a name?
Just a hooker from 8th Street. Don't worry about it.
Look, I thought you were over that clothes.
What is that beard? What do you have going on?
Got a
beard. Yeah, it's my sister's friend's baby.
Okay. So I got a monster. This is my second.
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, you're
what's that sorry ass beard you got going on?
This is called I can't grow a beard, and I'm trying to let it. I massage it every day.
Oh, I remember when my balls were dropping.
Yeah. Oh well, that didn't take long. Okay. We should just start it from here.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
glad I can record this so people can see my lack of a connection right about here.
Connection? What are you talking? That's a lack of a beard, period.
Oh, I know. There's no body to it. It's like, I don't know. It's scrawny. I don't know what to compare it to.
It's all right. You remember my friend Yepes?
Yep.
Yeah, he was doing No Shave November for a whole 6 months and still just had peach fuzz. So
he's got a baby.
You got a leg up on him.
He's got a baby face. That's why.
He really does. He does.
Speaking of which, I got to get Yeppy on this podcast. He's kicking ass.
Yeah, he is. He's doing his thing out there. Still a little party animal though. I'm like, I don't know how you do it.
Hey, more reason to get him on. See how he does it.
I'm too old for that shit.
All right, let's get this rolling. So, let all 6 of my audience know who the hell you are.
Who I am. All right, I'm George. I am one of Fitz's best friends from 6th grade, 7th grade, something like that.
It had to be around there.
Long as time. We're old as shit, so yeah. I mean, we played football together. While he was in college, I was in the Marine Corps. Please excuse the baby in the back. That's not mine. Even if it was, I would say it anyway. Yeah, after the Marine Corps, I got a job doing, I was an aircraft mechanic out here in South Florida. And then I just now started law school at a Nova Southeastern University, Shepherd Brook College of Law. So I'm in my 2nd semester. It's been rough.
Sweet. Yeah, see, I'm rocking the camo because of today.
I can't see you.
Exactly. So let's start from the beginning. Back in high school, where your athletic weight room career started. Tell us about what it was like training under Rosie and the injury and how you worked around it.
Well, Rosie was anybody who knows him, he's a character, but it's all in good faith. Huh?
As proof from that text before.
Yeah. Just don't piss in his cornflakes, all right? No, I mean Rosie, he's got a good, strong leadership. It makes you want to push yourself. So us being in the small town that we were, and the talent pool wasn't really all that. Sophomore year into junior year, switch it up. The summer from freshman to sophomore year. And we were doing all those camps and stuff like that. And Rosie actually pulled me aside. He's like, hey man, you're one of my best 11, but I was like $120 at the time. And this was in the very beginning. Yeah. And he's like, if you want to play, I'm going to need you to put some meat on them bones. Just like, got it. So that summer my dad used to, remember I used to live in the south side of town. So dad would drop me off before work. I would be sitting there waiting for the coaches to open the locker room, get in, one of the last ones to leave. I think I put on like a good 20 pounds or something like that, a good 20, 30 pounds. I ended up being like 160 something by the end of it. I miss it. My neck was fucking, it was awesome. I mean, I was still small. I was like 5'6", 160 something.
It was non-existent.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's just one of those coaches where he's gonna demand everything out of you because he knows you got it, type of thing. So just he demanded that you were in the weight room, just whatever work that he demanded from you was really just on your own time. Like there was stuff that you should be demanding from yourself, and he was just expecting that from you. So to have to go in day out, man, those fucking dot drills, those was dumb as shit. Those box jumps, I don't know how many times I busted my face. You know what I mean? But you
Yep.
know, it was just training.
Yep. I mean, I'd say that served us pretty well up until now. Like I don't know about you, but dealing with people that don't take care of the basics, like you should have this shit down by now. Like, I don't know about you, but I have a lot of trouble with that. Like, we grew up with the expectation of like, take care of your shit and show up to work.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, you know, sometimes like we would do squats and stuff like that. Um, we were definitely cheating. Like there's no way in hell with those tools. Like so even then, years later, still having to go back and just drop the weight, get rid of your ego, and just like okay, feel the form, get a feel for it, and then kind of just build those right back up to where you're lifting a good, you know, heavy weight, but you're also doing it properly.
Yeah. And we'll dive into that. Don't you worry. So let's talk about that nasty injury you had.
Oh, my knees are the weakest thing ever. Yeah, so I tore my ACL. Um, and at first they thought it was a sprain because I shit you not, I sprained it at least once a year every season. But it was, you know, a week out, keep off of it, ice it, boom, back in, no big deal. So initially that's what we thought it was. Thought it was just a sprain. The trainer was like, "Oh, you'll be fine." So I was like, "Awesome." So I did the normal thing because it was, you know, a routine thing at this point. Icing the knee, staying off of it, whatever. Um, and I came back. I remember I fully geared up the week after, and it was just like this is not it. Like this is way too painful. So I went saw a specialist. Yep, you tore your shit. I was like, damn. But I like absolutely refused to believe like that was it for me, you know. And you remember I used to like take some of the painkillers and they were non-narcotics, so and then try to suit up and practice, and the coaches wouldn't fucking let me. They're like, "You're being retarded right now." But I was able to come back for that last game that we had. I don't know, I killed it. I thought I did pretty well. But yeah, so it was just kind of
I wish I
accepting the fact that you know you're hurt, and no matter how much you want to get back on that field and how much you want to keep doing it, you just gotta bide your time and let it heal, and then you know you come back when you're ready.
Yeah, I wish I could provide some sort of confirmation here, but honestly, everything with football after freshman year is a little fuzzy. So we'll just take your word
You
for
took
it.
too many hits in the head. I'm sure
Yeah, I
you
love
remember your golden tackles and shit from freshman and sophomore year. So
none.
nothing. Yeah.
No, people reminisce and they're like, "You remember this? This was awesome." I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was basically the rehab, right? Just like
Yeah.
pushing
You know,
through it and making it
it
worse.
was crazy because I think the hardest part about all that was, you know, I had that immobilizer thing on for a while, and you know, I was a running back. You're constantly working out, and I had some pretty thick quads going on. But then being on that immobilizer, it was hilarious because my left leg was like, and then my right one was, you
You're talking
know,
about legs here?
yeah. I mean, I'm not comparing me to you, but whatever. If you want to go there, it's like a baby's arm holding an apple. Um, but yeah, so the hardest part was that rehab and just trying to compensate for it, and you know, doing those one-legged workouts and one-legged squats, one-legged everything, just to get back to where I was before, to get back on the field.
Yeah. Yep. The single leg stuff. Gotta love it.
Oh, it was terrible. There was that one time they put me on the water cart. Remember that big ass pothole that was right there in the middle? Yeah, that was painful. Adam was going full steam ahead, and so did I. The cart didn't though. It stopped. I kept going.
Wait, Adam was driving it?
Yeah, he was just like running and pushing it. I was on top. Didn't see the
Oh, wait.
pothole.
I thought you were talking about that go-kart that they had at the turf this whole time.
No. I wasn't there for all that. That was the year after I left.
Yeah. We waited for you to leave.
Clearly.
But
I
that
wish I
water
could have
cart,
stayed.
that water
Yeah.
cart was great.
Yeah, from the right there from like the locker rooms and shit to the practice field. They had that giant pothole right there on the road.
Well, to be honest, that stretch from the locker room up the side of the school to our practice field wasn't exactly level.
Yeah. Well, the pothole didn't help either, but
Yeah. So for now that happened, we'll go into the transition to Florida. For those of you that don't know, George is in Florida right now, hasn't left since what, like junior year of high school?
well, I left. I mean, I left in the Marines. I was living in
not
North
counting,
Carolina for a bit, and then
not counting the Marines and stuff.
oh
but
yeah,
your
so
permanent residence has been for
2009. It's been a while, yeah, like a good
So
decade and some change.
we played freshman sophomore year together. Then you moved.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I didn't play down here. I actually found out that Rosie called the coaches though, so that was pretty nice. But I was just being a rebellious teenager and decided not to play down here, which I just cheated myself.
You rebellious? Never.
Yeah, I decided not to play. Um, bided my time, and then end of junior year is when I enlisted. So at that point, I was just working out with the Marines there and uh, just waiting to go to boot camp.
And for those of us that don't know, take us through like what they give you like to prepare for, and then what it's actually like when you hit boot camp.
So it's kind of funny because they have, I'm sure every recruiting station is different. So the one I got recruited out of, RSS Fort Lauderdale, they had like training days from Monday through Wednesday, right? And it was just to get around, run around with one of the recruiters or whatever. So you would just do normal Marine Corps shit, like PT, a lot of circuit drill training, a fuck ton of running. That's all it really was, right? It wasn't anything too crazy. At some point, I became like guide of the RSS, which is kind of like the leader of the squad. And they were like, all right, whatever. You like, because I was going consistently from the day that I enlisted. So the end of my junior year, like that winter, I think like November, until I left the following July. Um, so I was going consistently, and they're like, all right, well, we don't have time for this shit, so you just run it. So we were just running around the neighborhood. We had a nice giant park by us that we used to set up. We used to switch it up and like play football. Um, but on average, we're running anywhere from like 3 to 5 miles every time just to get used to it. And let me tell you what, it does not prepare you whatsoever for boot camp. That was a waste of time. I had fun, but as far as a means to an end, it wasn't there.
Yeah. And then from there, what after boot camp was all said and done, what happened then?
After boot camp, or
Yeah, once you did your boot camp thing, where do you go from there?
it depends. It depends on where your MOS is. If you're infantry, if you're like a ground unit, if you're air unit. So I was in the air wing. So we do anybody who's not infantry, they do 1 month of combat training, and then after that, you go to whatever school you're that your specialty is. So I spent a month in North Carolina doing the combat training. After that, I went to Pensacola for the aviation school, and then to California to like the specialty, and then from there I got stationed in North Carolina.
Got it. And since this is centered around fitness and nutrition, you want to give us a little insight as to like how the combat training fit in with like the working out schedule and how like you were able to eat around everything? Like, what was that kind of like?
Honestly, dude, I wish I was still in for that reason alone,
Well,
because
you came out even more jacked after that.
it just like, it's a given. You know, you have all the time in the world, really. If Especially if you're not working, if you know, for the ground guys who are not in the field, like you just have all the fucking time in the world. I know I did, and the good thing about having that time, and then at the same time, you know, the Marine Corps is it's centered around fitness, right? Because you have to be combat ready, and to be combat ready, you have to be physically fit. I think somebody should tell the Army because they got some fat bodies in there, but generally that's how it works.
Starting beef on
Um,
the podcast, man.
oh, it's well settled beef. It's not even beef at this point. It's yeah. But yeah, no. So a lot of it is, you know, no matter what you do, what your job is in the Marine Corps, that's being combat ready is the first thing to go, right? Unit effectiveness, unit readiness, those are the big things that they worry about. It doesn't matter where your job is, because at some point, yeah, you might have to drop a dime and go somewhere. Um, and so, yeah, the whole culture is just centered around physical fitness. And that might be, okay, one day you're at the gym for 2 3 hours, or with chow, you know, chow hall, which is like lunchtime. The lunchtime is 1 to 3. You know, some, depending on your rank, you get the whole 3 hours, you get an hour, but either way you get time to, whether you eat at the chow hall. They do have some healthy alternatives, but at that point it's like, I was young, I was 18, 19, you know, metabolism was at its highest. I could eat whatever the fuck I want and still be fine. Plus you're moving so much all the time, it's like it didn't even really matter. So yeah, so it was just awesome because you had all the time, and not only was it wasn't even encouraged, it was mandatory, you know, because you have your combat fitness test every year, you have your physical fitness test every year, and those are just the bare minimums. Like you're expected to get a first class, you know, you're expected to pass those things with flying colors, because that's just to test that you're at the bare minimum.
Now, what exactly do you remember what the numbers were to like achieve first class? So if anybody wants to be like a gym warrior and be like, I did what the Marines do.
um, so the physical fitness test, to get a perfect score, I remember the perfect score, I don't remember the classes. um, to get a perfect score for the physical fitness test, first you did pull-ups, and that was 20 was a max. You hit that, you got a perfect score. The minimum I think was 6 or something like that. It was rather low, but again, you don't want to aim for the low. uh,
I could do 6 right now and I'm pushing 30 and I'm like 200 pounds. So if that's like, if that's like the bare minimum, like I feel like that's enough.
yeah, I'll be right. Now I'm just old and I'm not, you know, I look like I ate my former self, so yeah, that's not happening. And then after that is 2 minutes to do as many crunches as you can. 60 is the lowest and 100 is the highest. Here's a little tip: nobody actually does 100 crunches. Right, so this is how you count: 1, 2, 3, 8, 20. It's a buddy system. It's just an unspoken rule. Everybody gets 100 crunches in 2 minutes. Then that's a perfect score, and then you have your 3 mile run. So a perfect score for a 3 mile run is 18 minutes, and the very max is like 28:30, I think. Again, you don't want to be over here. So yeah, that's perfect score. Combat fitness test is, I would rather run 3 PFTs in a row than do a fucking CFT, because that is just wild. It's
Yeah.
You start off with the movement to contact. So it's a 880 run, basically just a sprint. Perfect score, I believe, is a 240, 230. So it's sprinting half a mile and whatever. Then you have your ammo can lifts. They're about 35 pounds, I believe it is, 35, 40 pounds. You just lift them. That is the perfect score of that, as I believe was a 90. And then you have the movement under fire, which is basically a mind fucking course. It's meant to see how your body operates without oxygen, basically. So you're constantly moving. You start off laying on your stomach. They blow the whistle, time starts. You sprint to the first cone, do a little hook, drop down, low crawl, then high crawl, which is like baby crawling. You get up, run into zigzag. Then you have like your battle buddy who's supposed to be like dead or whatever. He's sitting there waiting for you to drag him. So you drag him to the first cone, then you fireman carry him, do the zigzag all the way back, drop him off, pick up 2 ammo cans, run the whole course, drop the ammo. I think the course is like 25 yards, something like that. Drop the ammo cans, throw a grenade. Then that, like, if you get it within an area, they take 5 seconds off. If you miss, they put 5 seconds on. And then you pick up the ammo cans and you sprint back. And then I think the perfect score for that was 2 minutes and 14 seconds. So it's a lot to do in such a little time. Yeah,
so needless to say, if you're like trying to be a Marine, lean and mean would probably be the way to go rather than like full on juggernaut looking.
Yeah. And you know, the funny thing is like those special ops guys, special forces, they're not getting first class every time. They're not getting perfect scores, you know. That's because they're bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Marine Corps doesn't love them lean and mean. We have like body weight standards, height weight standards that you have to meet. And it's honestly, like, now if I had to meet them, I fucking couldn't. They're a little ridiculous, to be honest. I think for me was at 5'11", was from 160 to 191 was like I had to be within that.
So they kind of use like a little bit like a BMI kind of scale.
Yeah. That's exactly what they use. You know, some guys used to wrap tape around their heels and shit to be a little taller to get the extra 5 or 10 pounds or whatever it is.
Do what you gotta do.
It's like, you know, if you just stopped eating fucking Wendy's and went to the gym, you'd make it.
Tape all the way, man.
Like, all right, cool. Work smarter, not harder, I guess.
Hey, embrace the heels.
Yeah, I mean, especially being that young, you know, most guys they go into service right out of high school. You know, where it becomes an issue is that, you know, if we try to go in now at our age, and actually we couldn't, if we need a waiver, you know, and then if you're already in and you hit 28, you start, the standards get a little, they mesh for your age, so they come down a little bit just for your age. So
that old man discount, the masters.
Exactly, dude. But I got out before I had to run one of those. So,
so since we're talking about the Marines, why don't you talk about a little bit what the injuries that you sustained and like how that changed things going forward, like how you operate or how you work out, like things that you do differently.
I mean, you'll be hard pressed to find a Marine, and I don't care what the fuck they did, without knee and back problems. Like, it's inevitable. It happens. So yeah, I mean, there's some days where like sometimes it just hurts to even breathe. Like my back is killing me or whatever. Those days I've learned to just not go to the gym. Like, it's just, you got to listen to your body. But yeah, I mean, it just, you have to listen to your body. And that when I first got out, I was like, fuck it, I'm indestructible, whatever, right? Like, I'll just suck it up and keep it going, because you get that mentality, right? That's a warrior ethos or whatever. You get that mentality and you just keep going, and it's really hard to tune that out once you get out.
Like the super mindset, like
don't
be a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, that was the biggest thing, to like, okay, it's not being a bitch. It's just like, okay, if I don't listen to my body today, right, my back is killing me, I'm not going to be able to go to the gym, period, because I'm just gonna get injured, and it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. So I've learned, you know, your body will tell you what it needs and what it doesn't need, and you just gotta listen to it. You know, some days, yeah, it hurts, but it's like, I'm sitting usually at like a 5 or 6. It's okay, whatever. I've learned to shy away from some workouts, or to do some exercises very seldomly.
Which ones would those be?
Mostly like Roman deadlifts. I'll do those very seldomly. I still do deadlifts, and if I do, go heavy, I usually kind of give myself 2 or 3 days to rest as opposed to working out the very next day. Um, just little things like that. You learn to just, all right, if this workout is hurting me more than it's helping, why the hell am I going to do it? Right. So it's like, okay, well, and you can still get the same effects dropping weight, doing, alternative exercises, a lot more accessory work, stuff like that. And you can still get the same effects. Like that GBC stuff that you did for me was perfect
Yeah, the German
because,
body comp.
yeah, dude, it was perfect because especially now, it was like when I was first starting law school and you didn't have to do 120, 200, 300 pounds, but you would still get the same effect.
Yeah. And for anybody that doesn't know German body comp, it's basically this method that I'm pretty sure it was Charles Poliquin that popularized it. That's how I found out about it. Basically, you take like a main lift, like a bench press or a squat, and then you make that your first thing for like 6 to 8 reps. And then the second thing is something similar. So say you're doing a bench, the second thing would be like an incline press or a shoulder press for like 12 to 15. And then the last thing would be like something like a tricep exercise for like 20, 30 reps. And like for a squat, it would be like a squat, a lunge, and like leg press, like something in that realm where you could go heavy, medium, light, and it kills you, but it feels good.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, between that and macro dieting at the same time, that's probably when I was at my best. And I was sitting at like a 210, 215.
Yeah.
Now I'm at like a 225, but now it's a little harder being in law school because it's the time management and the schedule is just fucking insane. You always got something to do. Um, Even when I take my days off, like I usually try to get Saturday off to where I'm just not doing anything school related. It's really not that I don't have anything to do, is I'm just pushing it to Sunday,
Exactly. So law school is like one of the biggest time commitments ever. And one of the biggest problems people have in everyday life, not even if they're in law school, med school, like just working job, their 9 to 5 job, they really struggle with finding time to work out. What's one thing that you do to make sure that you get it in?
So I plan my studies around my workouts, right? And every week is a little different. One week might be heavier on the workload than the next. Um, and you just compensate for it, right? So sometimes I have 9 a.m.s and I know I can't go in the afternoon, so I'll wake up early and I'll go. Um, I I buy into that grind culture like religiously, right? There's no fucking way you can't make time. That's just a bullshit ass excuse. If you want to do it, you're gonna do it. Period. Right? People make time for shit they want to do all the time. They just probably don't think it's fun, or they think of it as a chore or whatever. But if you want something bad enough, you're gonna do it. You're gonna make time for it. You're not gonna make excuses. You're gonna get it done, and that's just
Exactly.
all it is. It's just figuring out the week. Okay, I know I have this class this morning, this class this afternoon. I have 2 hours in between classes. Some days 4 hours in between others. Sometimes I go with my girl. It all just depends. So sometimes I can't get to the gym. Sorry. Because I'll have like an 8 a.m. and then, but I always kind of make up for it. Like their weekend, there's no excuse for me to never to go because I have all the time in the world in the week. I don't have class. I don't have anything. So, yeah, it's really just trying to plan the studies first, right? Because that comes first, and then figure out time in between. Even if it's just, where I need an extra rest day because my back's hurting, or, I have a really big assignment that I can't really take time away from. On the treadmill in the garage, I'll walk or whatever, or I'll go to the library and instead of taking the elevator, you take the stairs. Like it's just to get the body moving.
Yeah. You good over there? You seem like you're choking on something.
My throat is a little raspy. I don't know why.
You're really making me hold back on making a dirty joke. I'm trying to keep
Yeah,
it, but you're fighting me on it. But I
last
was
time
gonna
I
say,
swallow.
before. So you're pretty much a big believer in the fact that like you're never gonna find time. If you don't carve it out, it ain't happening.
Exactly. And my big thing is, I might not be the biggest, I might not be the smartest, whatever, but I guarantee you nobody's going to be out there working harder than me, right? Like, what drives me is the fact that I think every time I think about, oh, I'm tired, or I don't want to go to the gym, or I don't want to read this goddamn assignment, somebody's out there trying to work harder than me, and I just won't have it. I really subscribe to that grind culture. Some people don't like it, they say it's detrimental. I say stop being a pussy, whatever. To each their own, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a blessing not being great at something right away, because then you just get used to hauling ass, because otherwise it's not happening.
Yeah, and I'm generally always ahead of my assignments. I'm on top of my shit, but that's because I grind like I'm not, right? Like you don't stay ahead by just slacking off here and there. Like, no, I always grind like I'm behind so that I know I'll never fall off. It's just not something I'm willing to do. I can't afford it. I got a lot riding on this, so it's kind of my meal ticket.
Exactly. Keeping the priorities there, but
yeah,
everything stays. Because I mean, would you say the weight room is like part of the routine because it keeps you like almost like mentally sane, like along with all the physical benefits?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Um, I was actually talking to my friend about this the other day. I don't think I've ever been more tired than law school, because that mental exhaustion is just it's a different devil. It's a whole different ball game. And that hour or two that I'm at the gym, that I'm, at this point is mindless. I've been going to the gym since we were in freshman year.
Yeah, like 15, I guess.
Yeah, so at this point it's just like, all right, well, what do I want to do? And I just do it. It's just something that I've been doing. I know it's good. And then even after you take a shower, you get home, you eat, whatever, um, I can feel that difference, right? Because I'm going, so I really can't anymore. Then I'll go to the gym and I come back and it's like, wow, like just getting that blood pumping, coming back to it's like I was stuck on something that I got in 2 minutes, but it was just because that mental, blockage, just you need that physical aspect too. It really helps.
Hey, got to keep the body moving, keep everything in sync.
Mm.
It's weird. Your body gets stale, your mind follows.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'll have that problem. It's just always going, always something to do, always something to read, always something to learn. So
exactly. Man, well, we covered a lot.
yeah, that was quick.
That was really quick. I mean, and you're used to hearing it, I guess.
2-point jump.
Yeah, I think pretty much we did cover like from beginning to now. So
yeah,
this is like the whole evolution of like starting off dumb freshmen, like just working our asses off. Then you get into the Marines and it's like another step up, like pushing. And now it's like trying to figure it all in. Like you kind of have to figure out your body, figure out what works, because you can only push it so much.
yeah. I mean, like I said, that's the biggest thing, is just listening to your body, because it'll tell you what it needs and what it doesn't. And the worst thing you can do is give it something it doesn't need, and it's telling you it doesn't need it, right? Because it can put you in a whole mindset too. Because I know I get grumpy as shit when I don't go to the gym more than a few days, pushing it past the week. So imagine if I didn't listen to my body. I went to the gym, I got injured. Now I'm out of the gym for however long.
Yeah.
And then also, how you feel about your physical appearance, it might not be for everybody, but if you're getting in the gym, you're doing your thing, it also has a big effect on your mental attitude, right? Like how you think of yourself will also feel, especially if you're seeing results, or you set a goal like, all right, I'm going to go deadlift 405 for 5 times, right? And you hit that. You want to keep that momentum rolling. It's like making your bed in the morning, right? I don't remember, I think it was a naval officer who said, you want to make a difference, start making your bed in the morning. And it's true, because once you feel that sense of accomplishment, you just want to keep going, right? You just want to keep that momentum going. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I remember watching that video. I think I made my bed for like 2 days in a row.
That's a record.
Hey, that's why you get a girlfriend. They care more. They take care of it. If she's listening, I really hope that she cut out by now.
I know, right?
But yeah. Now, last thing to wrap up. What is right now something like your thing? Like they could be a Netflix series, a book. Like what's your thing right now that when you're not doing law school, you're not working out, like what are you doing?
Well, that new Spider-Man game is a shit.
Is it?
Miles Morales. Oh, it's so good, dude. It's not as long as the original, but it's really good. That or I watch Suits, The Office. Um, just hanging out with my girl, my family, just doing anything that doesn't involve thinking, school, anything law related. It gets to the point where like you can't watch anything without be like, oh, I wonder if that's legal or, like the contract between uh, Angela and Dwight. Remember for the having the child? It's like that might
I
actually
mean,
be
don't
legal.
ruin it. I got to season 5 before it moved to Peacock, and now I'm pissed.
Sir, why the fuck did you wait so long? Like the amount of times I've seen that show is disgusting.
I got on the train late. Like I wait to make sure it's gold. And on this one, I gotta say, I had to skip the first season to get hooked. Like I tried so many times in the past, and the first season just did not get me.
I mean, the second episode is just, dude, if that show came out nowadays, forget about it. It'd be canceled in a heartbeat. Holy goddamn.
We're headed for really crappy television.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not already
headed.
there.
We're there. Everybody's not here to make.
But speaking of TVs, series, and all that, are you keeping up with the Avengers stuff like WandaVision?
I haven't gotten into that. I heard it's a little slow. I was gonna probably check it out this weekend because I know my girl she had seen it. She said it was decent. So I just hate now that it's like, why are you gonna do the weekly thing on a streaming service? Like that's not why people get streaming. It's we want to binge. We want to be, like.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed because if it were me, I'd binge the whole damn thing, get nothing done for the week, and then on to the next binge. It's a cycle you just get caught up in.
Yeah, well, those fuckers do it so people just don't, like with The Mandalorian, so people don't just end their subscription and then get it back.
Exactly. Hey, I'm pumped for the Avengers stuff coming up though. But in all honesty, for you and anybody listening, if you haven't watched it yet, those first 3 episodes, no spoilers or anything, they're just slow. So power through and it gets better, I promise.
You skipped the whole season because it was slow, and now you're telling me to power through 3 episodes?
I mean, if that's not like expert level, I don't know what is.
I mean, pot, meat, kettle type of thing? I don't know. Just saying.
I don't know. Now, actually, I wanted to bring up one more thing. George here is a big Spider-Man fan. How do you feel about the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland?
I heard they're doing like a live action multiverse thing.
Yep.
That's going to be sick.
I can't wait.
If they do it right, it'll be sick.
I can't wait. And if anybody listening has a favorite Spider-Man, please comment it because I want to see who everybody's Spider-Man is. I'm Tobey Maguire.
Really?
I'm sorry, man. I like Tom Holland. He's my favorite, but if I think Spider-Man, I think Tobey Maguire.
That's because you're old.
Well, what? Who's yours? Andrew Garfield? He's irrelevant.
Well, I mean, that wasn't his fault, but I think he did a really good job. I like Tom Holland, too. I think he might be my favorite. He does a really good job in the role.
He's the only one that comes off like a kid, like Spider-Man's supposed to be.
I mean, I don't really like how Marvel did it. They were like, oh, Iron Man, Spider-Man was sucking on Iron Man's tit. And I was like, no, that's not how that happened, but whatever.
I mean, you would know best because, I mean, you actually read the comics. Like, I'm just like a second-rate, like, bandwagon fan that saw the movies and was like, I'm in.
Oh, there's always, like, different versions of the comics and stuff, but I don't think any, I might be wrong, don't quote me, but I don't think any has it starting off, like, sucking Iron Man's tits, and that's how Spider-Man was born. He's self-made, so.
He's a self-made man.
Yeah, right.
Radioactive self-made.
Yeah, well, I need a spider to get bit. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, you got the ink for it, so I mean.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I actually got the Spider-Man tie, right? I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I remember.
It's supposed to be like a suit or whatever.
I remember.
Now South Park, that's a good fucking show.
I got to get back on South Park. I got another, what is it? I'm like 2 seasons behind.
Oh, I've seen the whole thing.
The Memba Berries were probably like the last one I watched all the way through the season.
I like the what they had the pandemic special. That was a good one.
Oh, I gotta watch
that. The thing with South Park is that nobody's safe. Like it's hard to see what stance they're taking because they just shit on everybody. Like it doesn't matter.
But I feel like that's the way it should be. If you make fun of somebody, just make fun of everybody. It's all fair.
Yeah, exactly. I really don't understand
anybody out. Then it's like, well, you didn't make fun of them, so it's bad.
I don't understand I've probably seen this meme too, saying like, oh, how did a generation that grew up on Family Guy and South Park become so fucking sensitive? It's like
mind blowing.
I don't understand it.
We were probably the most unpolitically correct generation of all time, and somehow
I think that's probably why we don't just give a shit. Like either way, it's like, what are you fighting about? Like,
crazy time you're living in.
Yeah, that's for sure. What a time to be alive.
Well, I think that's a good part for us to wrap on before we get too carried away.
Fuck you, I'll do what I want.
What better send off?
Whatever.
All right. Do you want people to creep on your Instagram or anything? Do you want to throw it out there, or you good?
I mean, yeah, if you want. I forget the fucking handle sometimes. Hold on, let me look it up. It's George _smash_.
I respect the fact that you had to look it up.
Yeah, I'm just never really on that thing anyway. If I do, it's just to look at gym fails.
There you go.
Between all the thoughties on there, fucking.
I mean, this man's got a good story every once in a while.
Who?
You.
Oh, that is usually just me drinking.
Yeah, usually. Still entertaining though. And as always, if anybody ever wants to see any of my stuff, Coach_FITZZ. Okay. Or if you want to get in touch, email me at coachfitz1@gmail.com, or just go to the website, Coach Fitz with 2 Z's. All right. That's it. Thank you, George, for coming on.
Thank you, brother, for having me.